Chris. So what brings you to counseling today?
Well, I'm having a whole lot of trouble in social situations. Um, it's starting to affect my life as far as work and things like that because I'm invited to a lot of different things and I just don't feel comfortable going.
So that affecting your life, like on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel like it is hindering your life? Like one being not bad, 10 being pretty severe.
Well, the problem is, or the thing is that outside of places like work or things like that, I'm okay because I just hang out with my family.
Okay.
So, but if the scale is, if you're basing the scale on situations in which I don't particularly know the people or I'm more acquaintances with. I mean, as far as hindering, I would say at the least an 8, at the most, a 9. I wouldn't say it's a 10 because I can do it. But when I get into those situations, I'm just, I feel overwhelmed. I feel overstimulated. I'm drained. And it can happen rather quickly. Not after the night. It is as soon as I start getting into conversations and everyone is coming up to me, asking me different things, I start feeling overwhelmed right then.
Would you feel that it's debilitating?
I would say I would say while it's happening, almost. It's just I've been, my coping is it is playing it off. I try to get my mind on something else and try to just act. It is, I just put on an act. So, but yeah, the draining could be debilitating because depending on the actual situation, the actual, social situation, I can feel at times like I'm almost at a loss for words because I get so drained. But when I think about I have to act, then I'm better. But then by the end of the act, I am wore out. And I mean, what it does, it prevents me from going. I can give you an example.
Okay.
I was invited to my principal's house at the end of the school year for a end of the year party. And not because of, there's other reasons I didn't particularly want to go, but the biggest reason, the majority of the reason was I knew I wasn't going to feel comfortable sitting there and interacting with them. Small talk is really tough for me. So I just, I declined.
So do you feel like you've already played out the situations in your mind? As soon as someone asks you, you've already played out the entire night?
As soon as they ask me, I play it out then. Is that what
right.
You mean?
Right, so as soon as you get a message saying, I would like you to come to this party, you start immediately reminiscing about what could possibly happen.
Absolutely.
So it's immediately a played out in your mind, and because you've been put into it so many times, you already know how you're going to respond to it, and therefore you start coming up with ways to get out of it.
Depending on like that situation, as far as being invited to her home, it was a e-invite, so it was sent to my email, and all I had to do is decline, you know, from an email, you know. But in other situations, yes, I've had to actually face this person and say no, and why I'm not going. And yeah, you know, that bothers me. It just bothers. I just wish I wasn't so introverted. I just wish I could just feel better talking and you know, small talk. It just wears me out.
Do you worry about how the other person might feel when you say no? That they may feel rejected in some way? Or are you so concerned that you have to get out of this that whatever you say to them is just extremely convincing?
I really don't. No, I don't think about how they're feeling. I just think, in a way, not how they're feeling. I think about what it is doing to me, you know, as far as, you know, professionally, and just you know, just as far as friendships and things like that. You know, because most of the time it's professionally, because if you know, most of my friends, all of my friends are my relatives, so I'm comfortable with all of them, so I'm cool with, you know, hanging out. But if it's, you know, a professional situation, I'm invited somewhere, I just feel like it's affecting me because I'm always saying no. And what are they thinking? And it's not good for, you know, I would like to be a principal someday, and, you know, maybe go on to teaching on a higher, you know, the college level. And maybe getting into administration there. So, you know, it just bothers me as a leader, you know, or wanting to be a leader, and not being able to really feel comfortable socially around other leaders, and just around other people, you know. I can talk my job. I can talk my job. I can talk sports. There's certain things I can talk about, but it's probably the more unknown that I'm just gonna go, and they're just gonna start this small talk that I'm just not interested in, and just, you know, I always have this. I always have to think so deeply of everything someone is saying before I respond. So that makes me nervous. You know, my pauses when I'm, you know, talking, that kind of makes me, you know, nervous. So I just wish it was different.
So you would say the fear is the unknown. If you had to say what the uncomfortableness would be, it would be more of just what the unknown is.
I would say so. Because if I just, you know, I know my group, who I hang out with, you know what I mean? I know we talk about the same things, even if we go off and start talking about politics, or, you know, or international business, or something like, you know, just something different, vacationing, whatever it is. If we start talking about something different, I just feel comfortable talking to them about it. But when it's someone else, I'm always thinking. I'm just always thinking. I don't know, and I don't actually know what it is. That's what is bothersome. You know, I may just start thinking, I may be asked a question and I just have to think about my answer too much when it's different situations other than the ones I'm comfortable in.
So, do you worry about their perception of you? If you do respond in a way that maybe after you've spoken with them, do you go home and analyze it and think, oh, I wish I would have said this, or I wish I would have done that, or...
I've done that before. I'm sorry for cutting you off, but I have done that before.
Mm-hmm.
I have done that before, but I mean, in general, no. In general, I just, when I'm in that situation and I talk, and we, communicate or whatever, and, the night is over, I'm usually just like, whew, the night's over.
Right.
You know what I mean? Thank God.
Uh-huh.
But, sometimes I, and I feel that for everybody. Everyone has said something, they be like, why did I say it that way? Why did I answer like that? You know what I mean?
Right.
But, that's just, those are just certain instances. But, in general, no. I don't worry about what they're thinking. It's just, it's just, I just feel like, sometimes I can't even get it out because I'm not thinking about what they're thinking, but I'm just thinking about the environment. It's the environment of, I guess you could say it's like the unknown, and and then it's just this small talk, and maybe sometimes I do feel like, they're trying to get to know me too much. It's a little too much, and I can give you an example of that.
Okay.
I was I was at work, and I go to the office to just to ask the secretary for something, and I get there, and the school counselor, a very nice lady, the secretary, and she's like another secretary, but they call her something different. But it's two secretaries and the school counselor. They say to me, now I've been working there a while, and they say to me, well, Paris, I don't, we try to Facebook stalk you, and we can't find you on Facebook. And I don't have a Facebook, so, I told them I didn't have a Facebook, and they were like, I'm sorry, she said, we Facebook stalked you, and we couldn't find you on Facebook. We want to see pictures of your kids and wife and stuff. And I said, well, I don't have Facebook. I don't have any social media. It's just not of interest to me. And so I took off, and as I walked, I said, you know what? So they will not bother me, because I just know how they, I know how they get sometimes, and, meaning, if I didn't show them, they'll keep asking me. They'll maybe come down to the gym or whatever. So I started walking. I said, you know what? Let me show them some pictures. I had some on my phone, so I, finger through the pictures, and I go and show them pictures, and they're like, oh, a beautiful family, this, that, or the other. So I, take off. So, but that is is an example of them wanting to, because I've been there a while and they don't know nothing about me.
Sure.
So it's an example of them trying to get in, and see what I'm all about and see who I am outside of work. You know what I mean? And I think it's okay for people to do that, but I'm just not that guy. You know what I mean? So
do you feel like you want people to know you? You don't want people to know you?
I don't care, but I don't want to be pressured into having to go to a